Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're decoding what might just be the ultimate strategy to break out of a rut. And get this, it involves doing the exact opposite of what society tells us to do. We're talking about completely disappearing. We live in this era where literally everyone broadcasts their every move, right? But the source material we're analyzing today argues that the more you expose your life to others, the less likely you are to actually achieve anything massive. We're going to break down this fascinating concept, often called ghost mode or monk mode. It's essentially a process that demands you cut yourself off from all the noise, upgrade your life in total secret, and then return, completely unrecognizable.
Okay, let's look at where our source text anchors this whole strategy. It's built on a really powerful idea from an American pastor. You can change your world by changing your words. Now, why is that? Well, because your tongue is often the very thing that betrays you the most. When you announce your goals to people, your brain actually gives you this premature sense of accomplishment. You feel good just by talking about what you're going to do, which totally drains the actual motivation you need to go out and do it. So you really have to learn to master your words before you can master your reality.
Which brings us to a huge question. What if the secret to massive success is simply disappearing? I know. It sounds completely counterintuitive in our modern oversharing culture. But we're going to explore exactly why cutting ties and becoming a total mystery is the ultimate hack for personal growth. The source points out a pretty harsh reality here. Humans just have a natural sociological tendency to feel jealous of the achievements of others. Subconsciously, people kind of want to keep themselves above you. So when you share your plans, you're literally inviting their doubts, their unsolicited feedback, and their negative energy. Disappearing just entirely removes you from that toxic social ecosystem.
Part 1. The psychological trap. Why oversharing actually kills your progress.
Now, before you can successfully disappear, you really have to understand the mental hurdle that's probably holding you back right now. It's called the spotlight effect. Basically, we all walk around living under this illusion that everyone is constantly watching us. But the truth, everyone is drowning in their own problems. When you fall victim to the spotlight effect, every action you take becomes this exhausting performance designed to prove something to, well, an empty audience. To actually enter ghost mode, you have to reprogram your mind and accept that no one really cares. And honestly, that is actually your greatest superpower. It completely frees you to be entirely selfish about your own growth.
So, to break free from this trap, the source text lays out a concrete, three-phase roadmap to transform yourself. You'll often hear this referred to as ghost mode or monk mode. The 3 steps are absolute silence, shadow work, and finally, the reappearance. And the text is crystal clear on one thing. If you skip even a single phase, especially that final one, the transformation will fail, and you're going to regret it for the rest of your life.
Let's jump into phase 1, absolute silence. Cutting off your information supply.
Look, since the dawn of our species, sharing information was a survival tactic, right? But today, it's a huge liability. Your absolute first step is to just lock your jaw. When people ask what you're up to, your only response should be, nothing special, haven't thought about it yet. You have to become this unsolvable mystery, even to your friends, your family, and your coworkers. Now, I won't lie to you, this is going to be incredibly difficult. You are going to be so tempted to defend your worth when people inevitably assume you're doing nothing with your life. But you know what? Let them assume. Your opinions, your views, your daily activities, keep them completely hidden. When someone looks at you, the only thing they should be thinking is, what on earth is this person up to?
Moving on to phase 2, shadow work, the unglamorous reality of growth.
Okay, so once you've gone dark, the real ghost mode actually begins. And spoiler alert, it's not cinematic. It physically hurts, it causes immense mental fatigue, and the source notes there will absolutely be times you will literally cry. And here is where the source is brutally honest. You must hide all of it. People simply do not respect your daily struggles. They only respect and value your final success. It's a tough pill to swallow for sure. You might really want to share your exhaustion just to get a little bit of sympathy from someone, but you have to hide your pain. You only earn true respect when you actually achieve the result. So keep your plans clutched to your chest, like the key to a treasure chest.
And history proves this time and time again. Think about Thomas Edison. He isn't famous for his 1,000 hidden failures, right? He's exclusively famous for the one time he succeeded in the light. The public really doesn't care about the thousands of times the filament burned out in his laboratory. They only care that when he finally flipped the switch, the room lit up. Your shadow work has to be exactly like Edison's lab. Just keep those doors locked until the invention works.
We see the exact same thing with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
He pushed through massive, devastating hidden failures with the early SLV-3 rockets to ultimately emerge as a global leader in missile technology. Those early projects? Total failures. But through relentless, quiet effort, he reshaped an entire nation's technological standing. He didn't go broadcasting his early failures for sympathy. No, he used them as raw data in the shadows to build an undeniable success.
It really all comes down to the raw math of success presented in our source. Here it is. It only takes one massive public victory to completely cover up 100 hidden failures. 100. Once you truly internalize that, you realize you don't have to be terrified of failing in the dark. Actually, scratch that. You should expect to fail frequently during Phase 2. But as long as you keep your mouth shut and just keep pushing, literally none of those failures will matter when you eventually secure that single, blindingly obvious win.
Let's look at the next crucial concept, the mechanics of obsession. Designing your shadow environment. To execute this properly, you can't just be vague. You must physically write down very specific targets and ruthlessly cut out all distractions that don't serve your growth. The source tells us to get incredibly specific. Are we talking about an entrance exam, a new business, your physical health, your finances? You need to identify exactly what will make you say, yes, I have achieved something in life. Write those targets down and hide them in a place where literally only you will ever see them. And from that exact moment on, every single hour of your day has to revolve around those targets. No gaming, no resting unnecessarily, no binge watching that crazy new true crime documentary. It requires a total elimination of the unnecessary.
Think of it like two fighters. They both get 8 hours of sleep. But Fighter A trains for 14 hours and only has 2 hours left for everything else in life. Fighter B trains for 8 hours and spends the other 8 hours just enjoying life. If you put them in a ring together, that second fighter stands absolutely no chance. None.
So the crucial point here is absolutely undeniable. Pouring obsessive, uninterrupted input into your goals while in the shadows guarantees a spectacular output that just cannot be matched. Massive input equals unbeatable output. The only person on Earth who can beat the 14-hour fighter is someone who trained for 15 hours. By intentionally cutting out socializing and digital distractions, you are radically increasing your input. While everyone else is out there busy talking about their plans or enjoying their free time, you are quietly compounding your skills in the dark.
And that brings us to Phase 3. The beast reappears, stepping back into the light.
After enduring all that physical exhaustion, the tears, and the deep isolation of the shadows, you finally step back into the world totally transformed. But the source reveals a really fascinating psychological twist here. By the time you actually achieve this massive success, your mindset will have completely shifted. You no longer crave the crowd's validation, and that is the ultimate payoff of Ghost Mode. You know, you probably started this journey really wanting to show the world what you were capable of, but the grueling, day-to-day process of shadow work changes you internally. By the time you reappear, mentally, physically, and financially transformed, the applause from the crowd just doesn't even matter to you anymore.
What happens is, you discover that your true peace and fulfillment actually come from the continuous process of upgrading yourself in secret. You're forever chasing bigger goals while remaining a mystery to the world. You look back and realize that your previous goals were actually kind of small, and now your hunger for growth is endless. You no longer need that spotlight because you've found a deep, incredibly fulfilling peace in the shadows. You've become entirely self-sufficient, and to the rest of the world, you will always remain this unsolvable, absolutely fascinating mystery.
So we've just unlocked the complete manual for transforming your life. The strategy is super clear. Embrace absolute silence, commit to the brutally unglamorous shadow work, and let your massive input forge an unbeatable output. The only thing left to ask is this. You know the process, so are you finally ready to disappear? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we decode another fascinating topic.